Rain streaked down the glass walls of the penthouse, blurring the lights of Seoul into 1,000 trembling reflections. The city looked alive, restless, and unreachable, just like the life Amy felt she had lost. She stood barefoot on the cold marble floor, arms wrapped around herself, staring out into the night. Behind her, she felt it before she heard it. A presence, calm, controlled, unavoidable. "You don't sleep?" Kong Liho said quietly. She didn't turn. "I'm afraid I'll wake up and remember this is real." For a moment, there was only the sound of rain. Then slow footsteps approached, stopping just behind her. Not close enough to touch, not far enough to ignore. "You are safe here." She let out a soft, bitter laugh. "Men like you always say that." He appeared beside her reflection in the glass, white hair loose, no suit, no armor. Just a man shaped by power and silence. "Men like me?" he asked. She finally faced him. "Men who buy women and call it protection." Something flickered in his eyes, not anger, something older. He spoke carefully. "I did not buy you. I bought your parents' freedom and took mine. If I hadn't," he said quietly, "you wouldn't be standing here tonight." Her chest tightened. "I didn't ask you to save me." "No," he replied. "You were already chosen." The words hurt more than she expected. Morning came too fast. Amy sat stiffly at the long dining table, surrounded by silence and untouched food. Across from her, Liho read the news on his tablet, composed as ever. "You're not eating," he said. "You're not talking. Talking isn't required." She pushed her chair back. Neither was marriage. He looked up slowly. "You want honesty?" He stood and walked toward her. "I don't believe in love. I believe in loyalty, survival, and control." Her voice shook. "So I'm just another asset." "Yes." The word landed hard. Then he continued, softer now. "But assets are protected. I will never humiliate you, never force you, never let anyone touch you." He paused. "Even me." Something shifted in her chest. She didn't trust him, but she wanted to. That evening, stylists adjusted her dress as light surrounded her reflection. She barely recognized the woman staring back. When Liho entered the room, his gaze paused just for a second. "You look appropriate," he said. She smiled coldly. "High praise." Lowering his voice, he added, "Tonight, you are my wife, and after, you survive." He offered his arm. After a moment, she took it. Cameras flashed as they entered the gala. Whispers followed them everywhere. "She's American. She's beautiful." He finally married. His hand rested at the small of her back, steady and protective. When another man stared too long, Liho leaned close. "Don't look scared," he whispered. "Look untouchable." She did, and the room shifted. Later, on the balcony, the city breathed beneath them. Amy hugged herself against the cold. Without a word, Liho draped his jacket over her shoulders, careful not to touch. "Why are you kind when no one is watching?" she asked. He stared into the night. "Because kindness costs nothing. Cruelty always collects interest." She looked at him differently then. Not a monster, not a savior. Just a man shaped by fire. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "What happens if I start caring?" He turned to her, eyes dark and honest. "Then this becomes dangerous for both of us." The rain fell harder. Neither of them moved. The silence between them stretched thick and heavy until the rain softened into a steady whisper. Amy pulled Liho's jacket tighter around herself, breathing in a scent that was unfamiliar but grounding. Neither of them spoke, as if words might shatter something fragile forming in the air. In the days that followed, Seoul learned to see them together. At meetings, at formal dinners, in polished photographs that told a story neither of them had written. Amy played her role well, poised, graceful, distant. But behind closed doors, she remained guarded, watching Liho the way one watches fire, beautiful, dangerous, impossible to trust. One evening, she found him in his study, sleeves rolled up, staring at a wall of names and numbers glowing on multiple screens. The powerful CEO everyone feared looked tired, human. "You work like you're running from something," she said quietly. He didn't turn. "I am." She stepped closer. "From who?" A pause. "From the man I used to be." That was the first crack. Small, but real. The next time they appeared in public, a woman stepped too close to him, laughing, touching his arm with familiarity. Amy felt something sharp twist inside her chest before she could stop it. Liho noticed instantly. Without hesitation, he moved, placing his hand at Amy's waist and pulling her closer. "My wife," he said calmly, but there was steel beneath the word. The woman retreated. Amy didn't pull away. Later in the car, she asked, "Was that necessary?" "Yes." "Why?" His eyes met hers in the reflection of the window. "Because I saw the look on your face." Her breath caught. "And what did you see?" "Fear," he said softly. "And something else." She looked away. "You don't get to read me." "I don't," he agreed. "But I will protect you anyway." That night, she dreamed of warmth instead of escape. Weeks passed. Amy learned the rhythms of his world, the late nights, the constant threats disguised as smiles, the weight he carried without complaint. One night, a storm knocked out the power. The penthouse fell into darkness, lit only by lightning. She froze. Liho found her curled on the couch, shaking. Without thinking, he knelt in front of her. "Hey," he said gently. "Look at me." She tried to speak, but the memories were louder than the storm. He didn't touch her, just stayed. Grounded, solid. "You're not there anymore," he said. "You're here. With me." Her breathing slowed. When she finally looked up, tears were sliding down her cheeks. "No one's ever waited for me like this," she whispered. His voice was rough. "No one ever waited for me either." That night, she fell asleep on the couch. He covered her with a blanket and stayed in the chair across from her until morning. The next day, danger arrived wearing a familiar face. Liho's uncle, a man with eyes full of ambition and a smile sharp enough to cut. He spoke too sweetly to Amy, asked too many questions. Liho's jaw tightened with every word. Later, alone, Amy confronted him. "Your family doesn't want me here. They don't want anyone I can't control. And can you control me?" He met her gaze. "No." Her heart raced. "Does that bother you?" A long pause. Then, honestly, "It terrifies me." She stepped closer. "Good." For the first time, he smiled. Not the practiced one, a real one. That night, standing by the window again, Amy spoke the truth she had been hiding. "I don't feel trapped anymore," she said. "And that scares me more than being trapped ever did." Liho turned to her. "If you want to leave?" She shook her head. "I don't. I just need to know this isn't another cage." He took a step closer, stopping inches away. Then let it be a choice, every day. Their breaths mingled. The space between them was electric. He didn't kiss her, didn't touch her. But in that moment, they both knew this was no longer a transaction. It was a bond forming quietly, dangerously, beautifully, and neither of them knew yet how much it would cost. The following days felt different, though neither of them said it out loud. Something invisible had shifted between them. An awareness, a pull neither could ignore. Amy noticed how Liho slowed his steps so she could walk beside him, how his voice softened when he spoke to her, how his eyes searched for her in every room before settling. One evening, she returned late from a charity event he hadn't attended. As she stepped into the penthouse, she heard raised voices from the study. Liho's voice was calm but dangerous. "She is not leverage," he said. A pause. Another voice, sharp and mocking. "Everything you love is leverage." Amy froze. Her heart pounded as silence followed. When Liho emerged, his expression changed the moment he saw her. "How much did you hear?" he asked. "Enough," she replied. "Your world is closing in on us, isn't it?" He exhaled slowly. "On me." She stepped closer. "You don't get to decide that alone anymore." He looked at her, really looked at her, as if weighing something heavy. "They will try to use you to hurt me. And you think pushing me away will keep me safe?" "Yes." Her voice trembled with quiet anger. "You don't get to protect me by disappearing." For the first time, he raised his voice, not loud, but raw. "You don't understand what it costs when someone gets close to me. Then let me decide if I'm willing to pay it." The room went still. Liho turned away, running a hand through his hair. "I lost someone once," he said, barely above a whisper, "because I chose power over honesty." Amy's chest tightened. "And what are you choosing now?" He faced her again. "I don't know." That honesty undid her. That night, she couldn't sleep. She found him in the kitchen, standing in the dim light, staring at nothing. Without thinking, she poured 2 cups of tea and handed one to him. Their fingers brushed. He flinched, then didn't pull away. "I don't want to be your weakness," she said softly. "You already are," he replied. "And somehow, I don't regret it." Days later, the threat became real. A car followed them home. A message arrived, cruel and clear. Amy saw the rage in Leho's eyes, the way control slipped for just a second. "You're sending me away," she said before he could speak. "Yes." "No." He stepped closer. "This isn't a discussion." She met his gaze, fearless. "I married you. That means I stand with you. Not behind you, not hidden away." His voice broke. "If anything happens to you—" She placed her hand on his chest. The contact was electric. "Then let it happen knowing I chose this." He closed his eyes. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. When he opened them, the wall between them finally cracked. He cupped her face gently, as if she might disappear. "Tell me to stop," he whispered. She didn't. Their kiss was slow, careful, charged with everything they had held back. It wasn't hunger. It was recognition. A promise. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were breathing hard, foreheads touching. "This changes everything," he said. "Yes," she replied. "It does." From that moment on, they moved as one. At events, at meetings, in silence. The enemies noticed. The pressure increased, but so did their strength. The final confrontation came on a rain-soaked night. Lies exposed. Threats spoken aloud. Leho stood between Amy and the world that wanted to break them. "I will burn this empire down before I let you touch her," he said calmly. Amy stepped beside him. "And I'll stand in the fire with him." The danger passed, not without cost, but with truth laid bare. When the night finally ended, they stood on the balcony once more, the city quiet beneath them. "You could have walked away," Leho said. She smiled softly. "I didn't want to." He took her hand, openly this time. "Then stay, not because you have to. Because you choose me." She squeezed his fingers. "I already have." The rain began again, gentle this time. And in that moment, they weren't powerful or trapped or afraid. They were simply two souls who had found each other against all odds.